今天跟一个朋友约吃饭，他是幼教老师跟艺术家。
Hello.
Hey Carol, how are you?
Meet Sophie.
Hey Sophie. Hi Sophie, how are you? Aww. Now you know who I am, huh?
I guess so. She's normally afraid of strangers, so this is good.
I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, exactly. Because normally she runs all the way over there, so
Aww.
she's How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Awesome.
Hi Sophie. This is your comfy bed, right?
She's coming to say
Aww.
hi.
You're coming to say hi to me?
What? Unbelievable.
Hey.
Wow.
Why?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, you're not kidding. For her to come into your space like that between your legs, she doesn't do that to, I don't think, anybody.
This is the thing that the dog will come and sniff, and then cat will come and rub my leg.
Yeah, so her favorite thing to do when we come home, like, me, Mark, Paul, whatever, is, we get down like this, and she comes in here, and she puts her head in here because she wants us to, but she doesn't do that with strangers. So for her to do that was pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sophie. Yeah.
Good girl. Good girl.
That's what they do.
And then they sit down in front of you.
Yeah. They start sit, and then sometimes they will just lie down.
She doesn't.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll play with you later, okay?
Yeah. Come here. Good girl. Good girl. All right.
I heard you were coughing. How are you?
I am just getting over it, as you can hear. Being around the kids at school, kids are sick, teachers are sick. Literally half of us got sick.
Oh my.
So yeah, but thankfully it's getting better. Sometimes there's kids that have the running nose or they're coughing, and if it's really bad, we'll actually call the parents and ask the parents to pick them up because we don't want them getting other children sick. And then we have a rule that if the child has fever or had fever, let's say that morning or the night before, they're not allowed to bring the child into school because they could still be contagious. So they're supposed to stay home for 24 hours before coming back to school.
What is the age group of the kids go to your school?
Most of them are 3 to 5 years old. And then once they finish the pre-K, and then they move on to regular elementary school and start kindergarten.
When they first come to the school, do they have the anxiety?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Most of the young ones do, but almost all the kids, they get over it within 15-20 minutes of being with the teacher, being around the other kids. They get distracted and they forget that they were sad and they're fine. And I have to add, actually, I see it happening a lot to boys more than girls.
Oh, yes.
Girls are very, very independent, and they're just so fine. They're fine with it, and they're ready for the next thing all the time. So,
are we going to Sierra Madre?
Sure, let's go.
Comment, what do you suggest parents to prepare them before sending them to preschool?
I would say please talk to them about what's going to happen in their day, because I think what kids don't like, if there's unprepared, they don't know what's going to happen next. If you run through them, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have a great day tomorrow. I'm going to take you. I'm going to drop you off, and mommy's going to leave. But you're going to have so much fun, and then I'll be right back. And then I'll come and pick you up, and I'll be there. It's a great place to work because you're always around this great energy. These kids have, they're so happy and joyous all the time, and they're singing, and it's great to be around that.
What is the boys and girls ratio?
Every class, we don't try and level like we have to have this many boys and that many girls. They're all placed in classes based on their age.
How many kids in one class?
In one class we have 16. And so I guess per California state laws for preschools, you have to have one teacher per 9 kids. So the older ones that are 16 only have 2 teachers. We have a 3rd teacher for the real young ones.
And what do they do during the day?
So the kids, they get dropped off by their parents, They immediately will start with like a morning circle, what they call circle time. They'll sit and good morning, they'll sing songs, they'll talk about what day it is. There's always a theme for every month, you know, the color, a shape. So there's some learning happening, and they'll go over their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. It's very basic colors, shapes, and then there's a lot of playtime. And believe it or not, there's a lot of learning going on when they're just playing.
What do they have for a snack?
Well, they always have water to drink, sometimes milk, and it'll always be like fruit or veggies with carbohydrate, like crackers and bananas and cheese. Well, school starts at 8:45 in the morning and goes only until 11:45. So basically by noon it's finished. And I think that's because a lot of 3- and 4-year-olds are, you know, they go home and they take naps. They're still babies. But we do have an after-school program. We usually have about anywhere from 14 to 25 kids that stay. Kids learn songs and they get to hear music and they are exposed to classical music. We even have musicians that can come in and play for the kids and talk to them about instruments and things like that. Going back to the after-school program, they can stay till 3 p.m., so that would be the latest. Normally, most preschools in the American system are only 3 hours long. And some people look to put their kids in all day, and that's not really a preschool, though. That's usually what is called a daycare. So when you drop your child off at, let's say, 8 o'clock, and you want to pick them up at 5 because you're working, then they would need to look for a daycare center. Are you trying to go to Sierra Madre? Yeah, it's back that way, so you got to make a huge. So we were actually right there.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
then I make the right turn
Instead of going left. Yeah.
I should make.
There you go.
What do you see the differences now and then?
There's a book that came out when I was in high school, I remember, and it was called something like Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. So, and it was basically, and it was like these 10 rules, and it was basically just about things that you learn as a young child, about sharing, about resolving problems with others, basic things like hygiene, you know, the way we teach the kids to wash their hands all the time or drink plenty of water, you know, things like that. It's very cute. And they say now, because I've taken some child psychology classes now for work, that those things that they learn, those are the formative years, the 3 to 5, are very, very, very important, because they start learning the foundation of things, and they learn about kind of like the way it is to be in groups and to the way it's going to be when they're in classrooms and sitting and listening and respecting the authority of the teacher. There's all sorts of different types of schools now for preschool, believe it or not. There are Montessori schools, which focus on letting them learn all the fine motor skills, like, let's say, pouring water into a cup, you know, sewing. And of course, they're not going to use a sharp needle and a thread, but they're going to use something like a shoelace, you know, into a hole. Learning how to go in and out, learning to cook, you know, stirring things and pouring and all these things that they need their fingers to start learning to do.
Have you been to this class?
I haven't.
Okay.
This looks good. Is this new?
I don't know, but it has a patio, and I like it because
Yeah, I do. That's good, good.
today's weather is so nice.
It is.
So
Wow,
let's
it's pretty packed.